Election 2011 coverage on Manx Radio. Brought to you by PDMS.
This morning, a politician who won his seat 5 years ago in Douglas South, Bill Malarkey, was 60 this year, married 3 daughters, so he knows something about stress. Educated locally at the Isle of Man College, deputy leader of the Lib Vans when he went into the election last time, but left the party 2 years into the term. Has served in Home Affairs, Health, Social Care, and is chair of the Drugs and Alcohol Strategy Committee. Good morning, Mr. Malarkey. Thanks for joining us. Liberal Vannin, you left because you wanted to be a member of the government. Is that true?
Yes, it's well advertised, John, that I left the party because they changed the rules after I got in. But we've got 5 minutes this morning. Let's not talk about Liberal Vannin. Let's talk about the Isle of Man.
Well, you have to, because the last 5 years you started off, you were elected as, one of the things you said over the past year, I thought very hard. This was in 2006, about what I personally could do as an independent candidate. I came to the conclusion that as one voice, I could do very little. And then you went on to extol the virtues of the Lib Van. So how much, as an independent, as a one-man show, were you able to achieve that?
I will hold my hand up and now say that I don't believe party politics in the Isle of Man will work. What we do need is...
So you changed your mind?
Yes, because you don't realise how Parliament works until you actually get in there. I'm strongly of a belief. I didn't think, and still don't think, that the Isle of Man has democracy. We do need our Chief Minister elected by the people. The way it's done at the moment, when you're knocking on doors, I can't make any promises to people on the doorstep saying that I'm going to do this, that and the other.
But you must have believed in what the Lib Vans were standing for when you actually sided with them.
I believed that the only way forward to have policy going forward was with party politics. Now, I do no longer believe that. I believe that our Parliament is too small for party politics. And I believe what we should have is a democratically elected Chief Minister who puts the policies forward first. Then people know when they're voting for him exactly what we're going to be doing for the next 5 years.
Without being rude, how can the electorate believe that in 2 years' time you won't change your mind again?
I will not be changing my mind again. Make it quite clear, I'm standing as an independent this time. Liberal Vannin seemed to want to change its mind several times as far as I was concerned, because when I was first approached by Peter Carron to join his party, there was no question about me sitting outside government or sitting outside the CPA. That changed
afterwards?
After the election, when they found out after the 9 candidates they put up, that they only ended up with 2 candidates in, of which I think 4 or 5 of them left immediately after the election. Now, I don't want to harp on. I'm not here to talk
let's move on. Let's move on.
Let's move on, please.
Drug strategy. Obviously, you've been very high profile in drug strategy. Is that effective, or is it just something the government's doing to say, look, we're doing something?
Oh no, it has to be effective, because you've got to have policy and you've got to be able to move forward. There's absolutely no doubt these days that we have to do the mind thought of our children. We have to change how they think towards drugs and alcohol.
Are we doing that in the last...
We are indeed. I believe now we're going down the right road with the education within schools. A lot of focus is going on to education. We now have a steering group which is chaired by, at the moment, me as a political member, and all the other departments all working together.
Are we being tough enough on it? Are we frightening people away from using drugs?
I believe we are. The police attitude is, let's get the people that's selling the drugs, let's get the money that's selling the drugs. So that, from that point of view, we're being very tough, and the prison sentences are being very tough. From a youth point of view, we're not criminalising children like we used to do. We are trying to help them, educate them, and put them in the right direction. We don't want to give them criminal records. We want to guide them.
Let's just move on to housing. One of your slogans was nests for people, not nest eggs for investors. In the last 5 years, how successful have you been to change that around?
Well, I think we've built an awful lot of private sector housing, a record amount in the last 5 years. We've done more first-time buyers' houses. And I believe going forward that this is where our capital programme should be concentrating on, not on things like Richmond Hill and Ramsey Pier. We need to keep the building trade in the Isle of Man in business. We need to build more private sector housing and more affordable housing.
Are people paying enough when they rent from the public sector?
Well, I don't believe they are. I think there's too big a gap between the two. That's why there's a housing review going on within the social care at the moment. And it's going to be quite interesting to see what the final outcome of that is. We've got to get the balance of between private and public sector housing.
What, equal? Or?
Oh, good heavens, no. No, the public sector housing can be exceptionally dear. Once again, we've got the landlord registration bill coming forward. I'd like to drive that a bit faster, because that will bring the standards of some of the private sector housing up.
Can I just ask what your relationship is with the other Douglas South MHK? Do you work as a team, or is it completely independently?
Oh, I work with David very, very well. We keep each other in the link.
For instance?
Well, if constituencies, normally when a constituent contacts you, they'll contact maybe both MHKs, or sometimes one. We try to keep each other in the link, so we're not duplicating.
Do you drop round for tea occasionally at his house?
No, we sit and have a chat after Timble sometime, or after Keys, just to find out what's going on. If something comes up that I think he should know about, I contact him, and he contacts me if he thinks I should know about it.
Mr. Malarkey, thank you very much for joining us. That's Bill Malarkey, who's standing in the September 29th election for Douglas South. It's 8 o'clock.